I write to you, not from the comforts of my own house. That place is scattered to the ashes. I do not write to you from my own computer, as that too is destroyed. I come to you from a place of sheer humility, the front lines of the disaster relief effort, one of many across the United States. I was a journalist before this point. I was investigating political corruption. Neither of those things matter much at the moment. There is no need for a writer, only for muscle to lift fallen houses. And what politics are still around can't afford to be corrupt anymore. I sit here in a portable shelter provided by what's left of FEMA. I write here as it is one of the few things that brings me comfort at the moment. On a notebook I discovered among the ruins. First few pages scrawled with childlike drawings. What happened to its original owner? I don't know. Vaporized or used as fertilizer? I do not wish to know. Perhaps if things normalize again, I will be able to publish this to a larger reader base, whoever might be left to read it. In this area alone, there are over 500,000 people missing, presumed dead. Almost every day, that missing count reduces and the death toll rises. At least when a body is actually found. Two months. 2 very long months since the apparent die-off of the invaders. Invaders that answered the second biggest question in human history. The answer to the first question has been discovered by the millions, if not billions, that perished. Until 2 months ago, we were alone in the universe, assured of our dominance over this planet. However, within a week, that dominance was tested, humiliated, and ultimately presented to us as the pathetic fantasy that it was. Our annihilation was assured. Why we are still here. Those puzzle pieces are still scattered in the debris. Some say this attack was divine punishment. Others of a more skeptical view say that it was inevitable. How we broadcast ourselves into the vast unknown. Why we were spared the total destruction of the kind. There are theories about that too. Divine salvation, unforeseen environmental hazards, maybe a drained energy source. I personally have no bias toward or against any of these. The National Guard in these areas, with paranoia, warn of a second wave, reinforcements, that we should be taking refuge underground. Part of me fears they are correct. Part of me speculates that this was their one and only shot. I suspect that, despite the chaos that many government bodies are in around the world, there are already studies being done on the alien bodies. It is my hope that we are already attempting to reverse engineer their technology. If reinforcements are to come, we might have an edge against them. Though I also fear that humanity's bad habits will take over again, and we will turn our advancements on each other instead. Key piece, I speculate, is the energy gun, or heat ray, as many of the higher military brass have taken to calling it. The weapon initially deployed by the invaders. Eyewitnesses, one I personally spoke to, claims to have been at ground zero of the emergence of one of the machines. The fact that it rose from the ground, rather than plummeting from the sky, it gives credence to the possibility that these machines were here long before we knew. If this is true, it might be such an amount of time before we unlock their secrets as well. I pray intelligent minds prevail. I speculate that there will be another effect of this invasion. A sort of mass survivor's guilt. I have seen it already in this area. Some affected so deeply, they add to the death count by their own hand. I do not blame them, as I feel it too. So many times, over the course of a few days, did I come face to face with sheer death. But someone else always seemed to take my place in those moments. I witnessed many of the horrors the invaders brought. The heat ray, and what little it leaves of its victims. The draining of bodies sprayed across the land. The choking red growth facilitated by the human fertilizer. A paranoia of a second attack may also affect the masses, shutting them down, unable to participate in society again. And the nightmares alone have made it difficult for us to function. I know them all too well. What psychologists are left once things have stabilized? Once they're no longer needed for an extra set of hands, they will have their mental workload set. The guilt, the trauma, entire families destroyed, many of them without bodies to bury. I think the question many of us are still dealing with is, why? Why us? Why now? Why did I survive? Why didn't a stray beam of heat strike me? Why wasn't I captured and had the life drained out of me? Given that the invaders are all dead by this point, I don't know if we'll ever find out. Maybe if their machines hold databases, if we can crack the code of their tech, maybe we can get some answers. Though I doubt even the aliens know why they did not succeed. I doubt they came here planning to die. I have spoken of theories in this article meant for nobody, at least not until the internet comes back on. Allow me for a moment to theorize myself. Our survival was not provided by our own means. All our weapons failed. Every bullet fired, shell exploded, missile launched, and in a few remote areas, nuclear bombs detonated. Nothing worked at first. All of man's devices that give him power over one another proved useless to superior forces. This is not entirely without foreknowledge. Scientific minds had warned of this for decades. Any life capable of convenient interplanetary or stellar travel will easily put our own technology to shame. I present this only as speculation, as I have no expertise in biology. Is it possible that we were spared annihilation from something we ourselves have already faced countless times before? The red growth by the end of the invasion, it lost color, became brittle, and is almost completely gone now. The invaders themselves, I saw one of them after their machine was taken out by a series of missiles launched by local military units. The being, which struggled to crawl out of its machine, died shortly afterwards. It shriveled and perished before our eyes. If I didn't know any better, the alien looked sick. Perhaps something that we have fallen to countless times before, for once saved us. Perhaps what we consider the common cold is not so common to them.